Todd. Todd never changes. In the year 2014, the people of the world wondered when they'd get a new Fallout game. An experience that they've never seen. They got their wish when Todd Howard released this fuck shit a year later. The people awaited a banger game, but instead, something unexpected happened. People began playing the game and finding out that maybe it wasn't quite as good as earlier games, just maybe. People enjoyed bugs once thought the realm of science fiction, fast bald men, disappearing bullshit, and beautiful landscapes. But then, in the year 2018, people awoke from the Bethesda dream. Years of bullshit finally culminated in an abomination that was just unspeakable. The entire world unraveled. Peace became a distant memory. It is now the year 2021. We stand on the brink of some of more of Todd's masterpieces. And I am afraid for myself, for my pet fish, and for my uncle's condom collection. Because if my time as a gamer has taught me one thing, it's that Todd never changes. Fallout 4. I mean, fucking Christ, what a bombshell of a game to talk about. Now, I have done videos on many games on this channel, but, well, not really, but I like to think I have. I mean, it certainly felt like a while. Editing alone in the dark, hunched over the computer for hours, tends to have that effect. At any rate, what I'm trying to say is that on the intelligence scale, I've squarely passed Redditors and people who watch Hikaru, and I'm now at the top of the intelligence food chain, at least when it comes to games. And although I haven't necessarily played many Fallout games per se, I can still understand why many people were upset and even disappointed at the end product Fallout 4 turned out to be. Now, me personally, I have very fond memories of this game. I mean, I remember playing it when I was younger and frankly thoroughly enjoying it. Granted, as a kid, I also enjoyed whatever the fuck this is supposed to be, so I suppose it doesn't really amount to much. Either way, I would like for all of you to know that I am more than capable of setting my own biases aside and looking at this game in a purely objective light. To that end, I've played through the entirety of Fallout 4, excluding the DLCs, and will now walk you through that experience over the next hour or so and pinpoint exactly where Bethesda got things right, and, well, unfortunately, many, many things wrong. So sit down, strap in, get your cock warmers ready, because it's gonna be a minute. Now, Fallout 4 starts things off rather, well, the game begins at a time before the storm, as it were, and we are shown what can only be described as an average middle American household. You know, the staples: cereal, black coffee, the morning news, bitch wife, nuclear-powered flying robot, you know, the usual. We choose a handsome face for our character from the Bethesda face shop, and we are visited by your friendly neighborhood prick who signs us up for the local vault, and also has the ability to change my physical and mental capabilities. Now, the stats system in this game is pretty, fine. Like, it's not exactly remarkable or especially innovative, but I mean, it's serviceable. Pick what you want to be good at and move on with your day. Speaking about moving on with our day, after the nice man leaves, tragedy strikes. Shaun shits himself. Oh, and nukes start to fall or something. For some reason, nukes take precedent over cleaning up Shaun, so it's up to the whole family to get up and move to the conveniently local vault, which we were just conveniently signed up for. Conveniently. We conveniently are let through and conveniently enter the vault before the strikingly inconvenient nuclear blast fucks our faces to hell. While down here, we mingle with the normal folk and are given the Haagen-Dazs treatment by Dr. Real medical degree.
Time for a whole new life.
After about a few hundred years at the least, a bald guy comes in and steals my child. Hey! Joke's on you, asshat. I still haven't changed this diaper. That shit's been in there for literally hundreds of years, bitch! Oh, and the wife dies. Shoot. At any rate, we leave our popsicle freezer, calmly ask the rad roaches to stop resisting, and escape the vault. Upon realizing that our standards of living have, significantly decreased, we make our way back to the house from whence we came. There we discover Codsworth, still chilling out and acting as though nothing is going on while the world around them burns. Kind of feels like a metaphor for most of Middle America. Anyways, he indeed informs us that over 200 years have passed. What? I mean, that's a while. We wait a bit longer and maybe another Internet Historian video gets released. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Anyways, Codsworth has an actual, genuine mental breakdown.
How do you polish rust?
And after taking a lap around the neighborhood, he suggests that I make my way towards Lexington to possibly get some information on just where Shaun might be. Along the way, I meet some stupid fucking dog and team up with the little bastard. His name is Dogmeat, for, some reason. I mean, I sure as shit didn't pick that horrid name. At any rate, upon arriving at Lexington, we find some raiders engaging in a fight with some black man on the roof. We take care of the raiders, and said melanin-gifted gentleman kindly asks us of our assistance dealing with the rest of the raiders. I, of course, am much too happy to oblige. Oh, and I find a cool laser musket, and I'm introduced to this game's hacking mechanic, which is just clicking on random words until the computer says, yeah, you've clicked enough. Either way, I ruin some raiders' days and finally meet up with the opposition to the not-so-friendly folk. The man from the balcony earlier introduces himself as Preston Garvey, Commonwealth Minuteman. He says the idea was that the Minutemen would come to the aid of the people of the Commonwealth at a minute's notice, you know, much like the historical Minutemen. However, things have clearly hit a snag, and we are left with this pitiful group. By the way, allow me to introduce you to our friends here. First, we got Coked-Out Grandma, Raving Lunatic, Bob the Builder wannabe, Depressed Redditor, and of course, the biggest virgin in all of video game history. Welcome to the crew, lads.
So what do you plan on doing about the jet problem in our community?
How about the settlement problem? Another settlement needs our help. I'll mark it on your map.
Either way, Fix-It Felix over here tells me there's this minigun on the roof and power armor and all of his plans to expand and his wife's dick and yada yada yada. All I heard was minigun and I was on board. So I got my ass up there and started putting boots to asses, or bullets to, you know. Now, what I was not expecting was this fucking dinosaur to crawl out of the sewer and start tearing shit up. Now, I did unfortunately die to it once, but I got paid back the next time, so, you know, don't worry about it. Either way, I report back to the gang, and they head out for greener pastures, which just so happen to be Sanctuary Hills, you know, where I used to live before that thing happened. We meet up there, and they tell me about how I should go to Diamond City, and that maybe there I can find somebody who can reunite me with my son. This effectively marks the end of the intro to Fallout 4, and now the real game can begin. Now, before I move on, I do have some first impressions here. The very beginning with all the family stuff I thought honestly wasn't half bad. In fact, it was kind of charming and relaxing. A perfect juxtaposition to the hell that would rain down upon our lives. Speaking of which, the dash to the vault is frantic and exciting, although a little too, as I said, convenient, as we got signed up literally 30 seconds before the bombs dropped. All the vault stuff is fine, but the whole thing with Kellogg killing my wife never really made much sense to me. I mean, I get that he has to get the child, but the fucking frozen 30-year-old woman wasn't exactly going to be of much resistance. However, things take a distinct turn for the worse once we start actually playing the game. I mean, the game just started and already we're just fighting raiders to assist a cast of boring-ass characters in a boring-ass place. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty weak start. However, with this news of Diamond City, hopefully things get better. Speaking of, I ought to get to, you know, trying to find my son and all. You know, time is of the essence. Let me just do just a little bit of building, building a little shack never hurt nobody, right?
2,000 years later.
Alright, what is going on, gamers? Welcome to the ProbablySwifty house tour. Alright, we just gotta go in here, get in the gate. Alright, so this is my settlement compound here. We see over here we have the generators, we have some defenses. The generators, of course, powering the settlement, giving power to the lights, all the defenses, everything. Up here we got another, sentry gun up here. This is the garage. Wait, hold on, is this my endgame? No, Shaun, there's no Shaun. No, we're still looking for that guy. Yep, here we are in the building. Right, we got some beds, chests for storing shit, death claw on the wall, just really cool shit. We got a radio, everything that reminds you of home. Here we have some weapons, in case, raiders come to try and kill us or something. Now this is where the magic happens, my favorite part of the whole house. Here we have where the slaves are, where they, make my food. That's the neighborhood pedophile, and most unpleasant. All jokes aside, though, I do want to talk a bit about the building in this game. The game introduces you to building through Sturges, who asks you to make this place, well, livable, including getting food sources, building beds, defenses, and all the rest. Now, I'm writing this script after finishing the game, and throughout my playthrough, I did my fair share of building, and if I had to sum up Fallout 4's building mechanics in just 4 words, it would be complete ass fucking dog shit. I mean, oh my god, it's fucking horrible. It is horrible. Alright, I mean, talk about wasted potential. Building in a post-apocalyptic game with raiders and defenses and all the like could have, and frankly, should have been amazing. Instead, we get a piece of shit that is shallow, boring, and just beyond clunky. I mean, oh my god. I don't think I've ever, in my life, been more frustrated than just trying to build a simple structure in this game. I mean, it's fucking agony. The game will never let you do what you want and has a really small amount of customization options. I mean, all you get to choose between is different piles of dirt and rust. You know what, John? I think I'll put down this pile of horse shit today. Oh, daring today, aren't we? And yeah, it's clunky. Walls and floors and whatever else the shit won't go down without a fight. I got to a point where I tried to install a mod to just let me place building pieces anywhere. Like anywhere. But for some reason it didn't work, so I just stuck with this mess. Like, if you want cool 3D building mechanics, take notes from a game like Valheim. It, like Fallout 4, is not a building game. And yet, look at the beautiful structures you can create, all with smooth mechanics and amazing customizations. Not clunky at all. Not to mention an integrated structural support system. This is how you do building. This is how you give me an aneurysm. Strangely enough, though, as I said, I did a lot of building otherwise, and it got to the point where, by the end of my playthrough, I had a decent little outpost here. I'll talk more about that stuff later, though. For now, back to the main quest. With some building done, I set my sights for the great green jewel of the Commonwealth, a place called Diamond City. Supposedly there, I may find some help in regards to tracking down my lost son. Along the way, I get into a disagreement with some raiders. I successfully adjust their attitude, and once I'm done running across the entire fucking map, I finally arrive at Diamond City, where the guards are outside battling some super mutants. At the gate, I see somebody by the name of Piper trying to get into the city. She claims to be a reporter, and the gate guard won't let her in on account of apparently writing a slanderous article, or so they claim. Either way, Piper uses us as a way to get in by claiming we are a trader who has supply for the general store. This, works, and the gate opens only to reveal the mayor of Diamond City standing in the middle of the room. He and Piper have some irrelevant argument, but then we get to asking him about how I can find my son. He claims that he cannot help me personally, but that someone inside may be able to help. So I head on in, and wow, it's beautiful. Wait, no, it actually looks fucking horrible. I mean, really? The great green jewel? Looks more like the big brown shit. And I think that this is as good a time as any to talk about setting. Fallout 4 is set in the year 2287, a full 210 years since the bombs fell. Set in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, or Boston as it were, the world is full of fucking rust and shit. I mean, maybe I'm stupid, but I just don't really understand why everything looks so horrible. I mean, it's been literally centuries since the bombs dropped, and still society is mostly broken. Again, maybe this is something I'm getting wrong, but this game would seem more realistic if it was set 20 years after the bombs fell. I feel like at this point there would be some kind of civilization, and a place like this 7-Eleven dumpster wouldn't be considered the biggest and greatest settlement around. I mean, come on, guys. The bombs fell 210 years ago. How are there still just raiders and bullshit everywhere? This is the same dumbass logic as the Purge movies. All crime is legal, and suddenly everyone's a fucking murderer wearing elephant masks or some stupid shit. If the Purge happened in real life, I'm almost certain the most exciting event would be that someone robbed a fucking Krispy Kreme or something evasion. Like, most people would just be committing tax evasion or something actually fruitful. Again, perhaps I'm missing something, but I feel as though enough time has passed to our society would have been at least partially rebuilt. Either way, I come on in and get settled into Diamond City.
Hey there.
What? I'm busy.
Oh, you're busy. Wow. Hey, guys, come look. Look how busy this guy is. Look how different and unique he is compared to everyone else. He's just such a hard worker. He's just so busy. Oh my god. Wow, great to know, buddy. He's just a busy guy, you know? You guys like that joke? You guys like that one? No? Okay. After that, I seek out the local detective at a place called the Valentine Detective Agency. Apparently, the detective has gone missing, and it's for some reason now my job to go and find him. I track the man down to an underground subway station. Apparently, he went on a job here and is yet to return. Down here, I fend off a bunch of wannabe gangsters until I reach the end of the line, where I find the detective. A man by the name of Nick Valentine. For those uninitiated, Nick is what is known as a synth, a sort of humanoid robot designed by a shadowy group known as the Institute. More on all that good stuff later, though. Upon freeing Nick, he informs us that he may be able to help us find Shaun after all, and together we make our escape. Before we can leave, though, some fat ass and his bitch girlfriend think they can stop us. I prove them otherwise. Honestly, though, so far so good. It's interesting to see how this game substitutes the classic RPG dungeon for something a bit more time appropriate. Also, I really enjoy Nick's character so far. He's a witty, funny, and just all-around cool robot detective who smokes cigarettes. Somehow. Anyways, we arrived back at the agency and I described what I saw from my view in the cryo chamber. The kidnapping of a little boy. Say, could someone check the Pope's office? We talk about how a group known as the Institute may have been involved. At this time, the only information that we're given is that they are a secretive group that builds synthetic humanoid beings called synths. Earlier model synths are nothing short of terrifying robotic killing machines, while newer models can easily pass as humans, and often do. This group has been known for kidnapping, and so perhaps they play a part in it. After describing the bald man who shot my wife, Nick quickly identifies him as a dangerous man named Kellogg. Kellogg. He was apparently spotted with a young boy at some point in time entering his house in the city, so me and Nick take the opportunity and go to investigate it. Upon entering, we see very little of note until we discover a secret button which opens up a portion of the wall, revealing a new room. Once again, we find little here apart from a peculiar brand of cigars known as San Francisco Sunlights. Having exhausted all other opportunities, we attempt to track down Kellogg using Dogmeat, who could track the scent of these cigars. Honestly, once again, so far so good. I have no real major gripes. Bethesda have done a pretty good job here establishing an early villain in Kellogg and making us afraid of the power and intentions of this institute, both of which are largely unknown. However, as we will come to see, things get a lot worse writing-wise very soon. Before leaving though, I hit up Piper and she has us doing an interview of the new vault dweller in town.
So, I know you're from a vault. How would you describe your time on the inside?
It was just me and 1,000 guinea pigs. They turned carnivorous.
This is a great time to talk dialogue. Although that line we just heard was pretty funny in my opinion, the quality of the dialogue in this game is pretty, let us just say, inconsistent. For the most part, the dialogue is simplistic and largely uninteresting, both the players and most NPCs. It just appears to be a massive downgrade from earlier Fallout titles, particularly those not developed by the chess club master himself.
I can only hope that the Omentas died when their treachery was exposed. To have the plan succeed only would have sullied the Legion. It does not matter. Victory shall be ours. It shall be swift, and it will be honest. Purchased with blood.
I'll do my best.
I know you will. Don't worry about me. You need to look ahead. Focus on the future. Thank you, Father. You've helped the boy achieve his dreams. I think I'd like to sleep now.
Now that's just NPC dialogue. As I've said, player dialogue isn't too great either. In speaking, you have a grand total of 4 options. Massive selection, I know. You can either be the nice guy pussy, sarcastic asshole, confused idiot, or huge ass bag. Pick one and go. And you'd think with the limited choices that the dialogue itself would be good. Well, no.
I just need a little information, Danny. We can keep this off the record.
I'm sorry, but
I just need a little information, Danny.
I'm sorry.
I just need a little information.
I'm sorry.
I just need a little information, Danny.
Uh-huh.
I just need a little information.
I'm sorry.
I just need a little information, Danny.
I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I just need a little
I'm sorry, but
I just need a little information.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
The only real exception to this are the sarcastic responses, which are honestly legendary, especially with the voice acting.
Have you ever had sexual relations with any species considered non-human?
Well, there was this one really ugly girl in college. I mean, I had to get drunk, and it was a dare, and ugh.
That hardly qualifies.
Look at me. I'm a ghoul. A freak.
Don't take this the wrong way, but you were pretty ugly before.
Now that you've had a chance to roam the Pridman, what do you think, Knight?
Cute boat.
Referring to this vessel as a boat is an insult to her heritage.
Otherwise, though, the dialogue is, it's pretty bad. On with the story, though. We run around with Dogmeat like a bunch of morons until he sniffs us all the way to a place called Fort Hagen, where apparently Kellogg is held up. Already? I mean, I thought there was gonna be, like, something that was, like, oh, I don't know, built up or something? Who knows? Maybe he gets away. I mean, it sure as shit would be disappointing if we kill the only villain that we have any real connection to so early. I mean, that would just be really shit, wouldn't it, Bethesda? But, I mean, yeah, we walk in, put some robots to sleep, and, well, just kill Kellogg. Wow. Talk about underwhelming. I mean, of course, if you aren't a dumbass like me, you actually get some dialogue with Kellogg where he's like, yeah, man, I'm like a hard ass or something, and you done fucked up big time. Great writing, Todd. Anyways, yeah, as I said, we dispatch the bald prick, steal his clothes, his boots, and his sick-ass revolver, and get some information on Shaun. So, apparently, yes, this Kellogg did kidnap Shaun and took him to this institute with whom he was working. Anyways, Nick says to meet him and Piper at Diamond City to discuss our next move. Upon leaving, though, we are met with a bunch of ships in the sky and an announcement over a speaker system. The Brotherhood of Steel have arrived. Now, despite some gripes I have with this group that I'll talk about later, this entrance is actually super badass. I mean, come on. Back at Diamond City, we have a discussion about how we want to proceed. We ultimately come to the conclusion that Kellogg must have known a way into the Institute, but he's dead. So the next best decision is to use chunks of his brain to try and access his memories. You know, a bit of a strange plan, but it just might work. So me and Nick go off to a town called Good Neighbor to find someone by the name of Dr. Amari, who operates a place called the Memory Den. Before departing, however, I stop by my base and throw a reflex sight onto Kellogg's revolver. You know, it's kind of like covering a piece of shit in ice cream sprinkles. Oh yeah, the gunsmithing. Let's talk about that. In Fallout 4, you have the ability to customize your weapons, not only with things like scopes, but also performance-altering changes like automatic receivers or damage-increasing alterations, including things like suppressors if you want to go the stealthy route. However, I think this system is actually, kind of awesome. There's a whole bucket load of cool and badass modifications that really lets you feel like you can carve out your own playstyle. If I had any gripes with it, it would be the strange junk system. Basically, if you really want to modify your weapons, you're gonna need parts that can be scavenged from across the Commonwealth. While fine on paper, in practice it can get annoying trying to find and hoard like 50 fucking hot plates to make just one scope. All things considered though, the gunsmithing's pretty cool. Back on track though, me and Nick arrive at Good Neighbor only to be stopped by some asshole at the main gate. And then I'll just let it play out.
And who are you, huh? Valentine's new dick?
We're hiring, but I don't think you'd measure up.
Don't be like that.
Dumb asshole.
Now don't be like that. Cock, you soft cock.
You what?
Good.
After all that bullshit though, we find Dr. Amari at the Memory Den. Here we talk out exactly how we can access his memories. Ultimately though, we decide to explore his hippocampus. We do this by using Nick as a sort of host while I get to view the actual memories.
Nick and I are gonna share a mind? Yeah, I'm not gonna see him in any compromising positions, am I?
So with all that out of the way, it's go time. For the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Basically, we explore Kellogg's life story in some weird world where we hop from memory to memory. I mean, what am I looking at? Did a fucking 6th grader design this shit? Now, while the writing and dialogue here is actually fairly interesting and well done, I can't quite help but feel like, I don't know, it's a bit fucking late. I mean, he's already dead. I mean, this is information that should have been revealed, early on. Like, we should have known who Kellogg was so that we could develop a meaningful connection with them as a villain. He too lost his family. In this, we are alike. This could have made for extremely interesting plot points, but nope, he's gone. Meanwhile, I just get this huge fat-ass exposition exposition dump about shit I frankly don't really care about. At the end, though, we find a memory concerning the investigation where we do in fact find Shaun, who appears to be just a little bit older than a mere baby, unlike we first believed. Either way, though, some fucking weirdo appears and teleports with the boy away, and that's what we're looking for. Now we know how to enter the Institute. The only way in or out is teleportation. With this new knowledge, we get pulled out of the machine and haunted by the ghost of Kellogg.
Hey, Valentine.
Hope you got what you were looking for inside my head. That was right. I should have killed you when you were on ice.
You want to try for round 2? Let's go.
What? What are you talking about?
Again, a potentially interesting plot point which is never brought up again. Nice, Bethesda. At any rate, our new objective is to find some prick named Virgil out in the glowing sea. Apparently he might know how to get a courser chip, which is something that may help us teleport into the Institute. Virgil. More like virgin. Thank you guys. Upon arriving at the glowing sea, I get chased by about 67 rad scorpions all the way over to the settlement of zealots calling themselves the Children of Adam, who are really fucking stupid. Why, you may ask? Well, it's not because they worship radiation or anything, it's because their choice of weaponry is guns that do radiation damage, in an environment where they are fighting irradiated creatures. I mean, how fucking stupid are you? Speaking of which, those rad scorpions followed my ass all the way here and, well, surprise, surprise, the radiation guns didn't work against the rad scorpions who killed the person I needed to talk to. Luckily, she had some note on her, some stupid shit, and I could continue on my quest to find Virgil. After sneaking past the death claw and yet again being harassed by a rad scorpion, I find a super mutant in a cave who apparently is this Virgil I'm supposed to find. Now, most super mutants are retarded, angry, green monsters, but this guy is passive and actually quite smart. Initially, he distrusts us, believing that we were sent here by the Institute to kill him. Only after convincing him that we took care of Kellogg does he trust us and realize that we are not an Institute spy. He later reveals that he was a scientist who defected from the Institute, which explains why they would be after him and why he chose to hide out in such a dangerous place. Anyways, after explaining my situation, he agrees to help me get inside if I retrieve an experimental serum he was working on located within the Institute. This serum could potentially reverse his condition and turn him human again. I agree and we get to work. As stated earlier, we need a courser chip. The code located within the chip has information on how we can possibly teleport into the Institute ourselves. However, getting this chip won't exactly be easy. You know, we can't just walk down to fucking Walmart and grab one off the shelf. We have to kill an Institute courser. A courser is essentially a robotic super soldier developed for one thing: wanton slaughter. It's basically like the Fallout version of an HK unit or something. If we can get the chip and decode it, we might just be able to build a machine that allows us to hijack the courser signals and teleport into the Institute. You got all that? So, it's off to kill a courser I go. I go over to the CIT ruins where I pick up a signal, which I totally use to find where I'm supposed to go. Under no circumstances do I already know exactly where to go. No, not at all. Why would you even say that? After definitely following the signal, it leads us to Green Tech Genetics, where we dispatch a bunch of nameless bullet sponges until we get to the top, where the courser can be seen eliminating helpless hostages.
I don't know the password. I'm telling the truth. I don't believe you are.
Oh, God. Please, no.
Nice, man. But yeah, not even this Terminator wannabe can withstand the might of a fucking nuclear explosion. After pulling the chip out of his head, I return to Dr. Amari, who says that she cannot decode the chip, but that she knows someone who might. She instructs me to go and find the Railroad. The Railroad are one of the in-game factions. They are essentially the more stealth-based faction, and their role in the plot is that they are a secret agency dedicated to combating the Institute and freeing the synths from what they believe to be a life of slavery. Yeah, what next? We gonna go liberate a fucking microwave? All jokes aside though, this is actually a very interesting plot point and reminds me a lot of Detroit Become Human. Or Detroit Become Human reminds me a lot of it, I guess. Ultimately though, it does call into question, what makes somebody human? I mean, obviously apart from just genetics, because humans are more than just a collection of cells. We perceive humanity as a culmination of many things. Hopes, dreams, emotions, and yet none of these things are really tangible things, but rather abstract concepts. In this sense, even if synths are robots, they talk like humans, they look like humans, and in a way, they feel like humans. So is it really okay to treat them like trash? And yes, I do believe that if you think about it, synths really do feel in a similar way to humans. Quote-unquote real emotions are nothing more than chemical reactions. Certain chemicals react in our bodies and we perceive and express that as an emotion. And that way, why is a code or a program seen as less real? It's an interesting dilemma for sure, whether you agree with the Railroad or not. I mean, even if you think they are just machines, you gotta admit, it's still a bit odd that the Institute designed their slaves to act almost exactly like humans, don't you think? Either way, this whole synth dilemma is actually a really damn interesting plot point and world detail, so wow, good job Bethesda. However, even if the concepts surrounding the Railroad are interesting, the organization itself is, well, for lack of better words, fucking retarded. Like, wow, these people suck. I mean, for fuck's sake, these people are supposed to be some stealthy and secret organization, but there is an actual, literal breadcrumb trail that leads directly to their main headquarters, and everyone fucking knows about it. I didn't even mention it earlier, but upon entering Diamond City, I overheard 2 random NPCs talking about walking this freedom trail to find the Railroad. So, wait, okay, hold on. I'm supposed to believe that these 2 random fuckwads in Diamond City know how to find the Railroad, but the Brotherhood and Institute don't? What? I mean, there are literal holotapes scattered around the Commonwealth recorded by the Railroad themselves telling people where to find their main headquarters. How does that make any sense? I mean, I understand that you need some way for people to find you to get more recruits, but how about the Freedom Trail bring you to some low-key, shitty, small Railroad recruitment outpost instead of the main headquarters of the whole agency? I mean, like, oh my god, wow, like, I'm absolutely astounded. Me, some random asshat who got taken out the freezer only a few weeks ago, immediately finds the Railroad, but the Institute, who have been fighting them for years, can't? I mean, I'm spending so much time talking about it, but it makes no sense at all. Again, maybe I'm the one missing something, but from where I'm standing, this shit is just beyond stupid. At any rate, though, I take out some freaky dicky bitch, get a cool power fist, and track down the Railroad. The password to get into the Railroad is Railroad. Anyways, upon discovering the Railroad, their leader interrogates me on who I am and why I'm here. I explain that I found a Courser chip and need their help. After Deacon, one of the agents, comes in and vouches for me, I'm let in. Tinker Tom, the local meth addict, decodes the chip for me, then I sign on with the Railroad so that I can do some missions for them. I return to Virgil with the necessary code, and he writes down some plans for me for a device that could get me inside the Institute. However, all that shit can wait as I'm off running ops for the Railroad, in particular with the homie Deacon. Most of the Railroad missions consist of just going around and doing random shit, like blowing people's heads off and terrorizing local populations, you know, the good shit. However, I'm not exactly planning to go much in detail with the specifics. Instead, now I thought would be a great time to touch upon Fallout 4's primary gameplay, like, you know, shooting and shit. Now, as I've already discussed, in many aspects, Fallout 4 is a pretty bad RPG when it comes to, well, role-playing, and the writing is pretty shitty.
Piper was
Oh
right.
no, what's going on here?
Done as a 2 slugs in the gut. Plus the fall.
No, not Danny. What was his name? Danny Sullivan. No, he was my favorite character.
It'll all be over.
Yeah, you're good, buddy.
We should have done something about McDonough.
This is dialogue, boys.
Ain't like we weren't warned. Just didn't want to admit it.
I guess not, buddy. Well, that's one hell of a crushing blow. I mean, this guy doesn't seem to be too upset about it. He's just groping on his junk or whatever the fuck. Okay. We got a sign of life. Hey, buddy, you holding up well?
A man has just died.
What an astute observation! The building is clunky and the bugs are aplenty, but what about the gameplay? Could the gunplay save us from an otherwise largely underwhelming game? Well, kinda. The gunplay itself is a tad strange and floaty, but once you get used to it, it's actually quite fun. There is a huge assortment of cool weapons, awesome perks, and different ammo types. Not to mention, Bethesda did a real great job in the feedback department because it feels like a tiny little dopamine shot every time you blow some poor asshat's head off or some scaver sky high, which I will now demonstrate in a montage that will almost assuredly get this video copyright claimed, but watch me do it anyway, UMG, you bastards! Alright guys, little editor's note here. Clearly whoever wrote the script is a more naive man than I because, well, times have changed, okay? Now, I would have loved to do nothing more than to edit together a nice little gameplay montage here with your favorite Fallout 4 classic radio songs, but the reality is that I really can't do that. Now, I may have given UMG the middle finger here, but the minute that they hear 68.7 zeptoseconds of one of their copyrighted songs, they're gonna take that finger and shove it right back up my ass. So, frankly, that whole avenue is just kinda closed off to me. I hope you guys can find it in your hearts to forgive me. Either way, though, yeah, the gunplay is actually really quite fun. If I had any major gripes, it would be that the ammo is sometimes really hard to find, unless your choice of weapon is like a pipe pistol. Many weapons have really hard to find ammo, which can make you feel guilty when using certain weapons. For example, I practically never used Kellogg's revolver the whole game because finding .44 rounds is like finding just one person who isn't a pedophile in the Smash community. It's fucking impossible. It'd be easier to convince a Redditor to shower. Either way though, good stuff, Bethesda. However, after completing about 78 missions with the Railroad, I finally got to a point where they just give me Bethesda brand Radiant quests, so I take that as a cue to just get on with the main quest. In order to continue though, I have to build a... I have to build. Oh, god damn it. Now, thankfully I don't have to build much, but Bethesda still finds a way to make it a fucking pain in the ass. I have to build this huge metal pizza in this small-ass space and attach all this other bullshit to it like it's on fucking life support. Now, of course it couldn't be that easy, so I also had to go across the map to get some dumbass biometric scanner. Yay! Thanks, guys. Very fun. Then Tinker Tom will get the ever-loving shit out of the way, and I finally build all the garbage I need for this teleporter thingamajiggy. Before going to the Institute for real though, Desdemona informs us that once we're inside, we are to commune with an insider in the Institute codenamed Patriot, who is also in the business of helping synths. Other than that though, I'm good to go, and without further ado, my homie Tom sends me in and, well, here we are. The Institute. Looks kind of, shitty? Not exactly a warm reception. Anyways, we get somebody who refers to themselves as Father, talking to us over the PA system. Father? What kind of freaky dicky shit's going down here? Either way, we step into the elevator and for the first time we see the real Institute. Honestly, it looks pretty fucking awesome. It's like this cool sci-fi, hyper-futuristic scientific utopia, and it's really a brilliant juxtaposition with the rest of the Commonwealth. The Institute really feels different. A little bit more elevator and we finally reach an area with what looks to be Shaun, the son I was looking for.
But that could wait. You are here for a specific, very personal reason. You are here for your son.
Shaun? Oh my god.
You're me, Father.
Yes, you.
Who are you?
Shh. It'll be okay, Shaun. I'm here now.
I don't know you. Go away. Father! Father, help me! There's someone here! Help me! Father, help me!
Hey, wait, no, you don't need any help. Who the fuck are you? The hall monitor? Don't you see I'm trying to reunite with my lost dad here? Get the fuck out of here, you prick! Oh, fuck. Shit, was that guy important? Fuck. But yeah, the man who refers to himself as Father comes into the room and turns off the synthetic Shaun. He welcomes us to the Institute. He explains that the name Father is more of a title that the members of the Institute have come to know him as. He talks about all the struggles we've been through, all that we've endured to locate our son, just before dropping this would-be bombshell on us that he, in fact, is our son. This old-ass motherfucker is Shaun. Now, this little reveal is, I mean, you know, it's cool, I guess, but it's a lot less impactful than it could have been. The only real surprising thing regarding this reveal is that Shaun is quite a bit older than we expected. However, for this reveal to have been truly breathtaking, we should have actually already interacted with this Father character. If Bethesda would have enriched this plotline and added in some nice dialogue to boot, the reveal could have been fantastic. Instead, it's just kind of rather flaccid and only really elicits a response of, okay. However, it is serviceable. Anyways, he explains how we had no concept of the passage of time while in cryosleep. Upon being refrozen, 60 years had passed and the baby we once lost was now not only an old man, but the leader of the very institution which captured him, the Institute. However, this doesn't explain why the Institute captured Shaun and why they had referred to me as the backup. The reasoning for this is actually quite clever. During synth production, the Institute had decided to utilize the form of a human body. However, in order to properly create these synths, they needed uncorrupted human DNA. This was, obviously very difficult to obtain in an irradiated wasteland. However, upon discovery of Vault 111, the Institute realized that a baby like Shaun, untouched by radiation, still stuck in cryostasis, would be a perfect candidate. And as such, they kidnapped him, leaving one parent as a backup in case something went awry. As such, Shaun is, in a way, the father of practically all Institute synths, hence the title. However, after this, things tend to take a turn for the worse. First, he refers to his mother's death at the hands of Kellogg as a collateral damage and continued to utilize Kellogg as an asset even after finding out. Now, he does bring up a point about how he obviously has no memories of her and he was just a baby, but even still, I mean, that's pretty cold-blooded. After that, he also talks about how the Institute is the best hope for humanity, yet in the same breath admits that he could care less if the above world dies. This really strange and frankly cold-blooded view of the Institute and why it ruins it as a faction is one I will talk about soon, but for now, let us just get settled in and meet the heads of the Institute. First, we have this bitch, the head of slavery, the Happy Vegan, and of course the Brotherhood of Steel dropout who installs a courser chip in our Pip-Boy, letting us teleport in and out of the Institute at will. After meeting the crew, I just sort of, walk around a little, get to know the place. I also managed to break into the abandoned FEV lab and retrieve the serum for Virgil. After all that dumb shit though, I find and interact with this Patriot the Railroad wanted me to find. He apparently is a synth by the name of Liam Benet, and he has some sort of plan to help a couple of synths escape. He takes us to his partner in crime, another synth named Z1. Ultimately though, we decide on a plan requiring some admin codes, but before I can instigate it, I must report back to Desdemona regarding, well, everything. She congratulates me on my success in infiltrating the Institute and communing with Patriot. Then, the local meth addict injects me with what I can only assume is the COVID shot. Afterwards, I write up a report on my findings like some minimum wage schmuck, and we ultimately decide to ditch Patriot's shitty plan of rescuing a couple synths and begin to devise a new plan to rescue all of them at once. This would, of course, include the destruction of the Institute itself. Alright, now I believe that right about now is the best time yet to speak about the main factions of Fallout 4 and why most of them kinda suck. In Fallout 4, there are a couple of different endings. Which ending you get is entirely dependent on which faction you ultimately side with. The options are as follows: the Minutemen, the Brotherhood of Steel, the Institute, and the Railroad. All of these factions have their own ideals and visions for the future, but they're all just really boring and some of them are completely nonsensical. First, let's talk about the Minutemen. Now, in a weird, twisted sort of way, these boring fucks are probably the most well-written faction in the whole game. That's not to say that they're interesting or anything, good god no, but at least they're not fucking stupid. Basically, it's just a group of do-gooders doing good. Really boring, but I guess it works. If you do end up siding with them, you destroy the Institute and the other factions. Next to the Railroad, who I have already discussed. All I would like to add to what I've said at this point is that the endgame of the Railroad includes evacuating all of the synths from the Institute and rigging the reactor to blow, effectively nuking the Institute as well as taking down the Brotherhood. As I've said, their ideas are interesting, but as a faction, they're pretty dumb. Next are the Brotherhood, who are a very cookie-cutter, plain-ass faction. Their ideas and goals don't go much farther beyond kill everything that doesn't look like me. So they are effectively wasteland Nazis. Except I suppose not as bad as Nazis, because to be fair, I'd be pretty racist against super mutants too. Their endgame involves using Liberty Prime to blow their way into the Institute and also nuking it, and all the synths within it, along with massacring the Railroad. And finally, the one I really want to talk about, the Institute. While there are other factions in this game, the Institute is really the main focus of the game, even more so than the whole Finding Your Son plot. Ultimately, as mediocre as every other faction is, it could have been all salvaged if the Institute itself was a good faction, because basically everything in this game, lore-wise, depends on it. So you can imagine where I'm going with this. Not only is the Institute not a well-written faction, it's the worst-written faction in the entire game, which for Fallout 4 is really saying something. The Institute just makes absolutely no fucking sense, and honestly, it really is a shame. I mean, tell me earnestly, can you actually identify the main goal of the Institute as a faction? Really, I'll give you guys as much time as you want. Tell me the main goal of the Institute. I'm waiting. Got anything? Nope, that's what I fucking thought. I mean, really, any of you who have even finished this game multiple times, can you honestly identify what the purpose of the Institute is? Yeah, neither can I. I mean, even the Brotherhood, at the very least, has a clear goal of kill fucking everything, but the Institute? Nothing! No goal, no destination, and ultimately, no point. Supposedly, their goal is to preserve humanity, but for one, they exhibit no such behavior, and two, that in and of itself is an extraordinarily vague goal. Preserve humanity how? By sitting underground scratching your ass while the world above you burns? They absolutely have the technology and the minds to help the people above ground, but after one botched attempt, they just leave them to burn? How exactly is that, quote, preserving humanity? Like, how exactly do they rationalize their beliefs? In fact, the only time the Institute actually does interact with the world above ground, it's to either kidnap people or send their Terminator robots to kill an entire city. The Institute is not only not preserving humanity, but they are actively harming it. Now, it's not bad writing in and of itself to have a misguided evil faction. You know, that's not the problem. The problem is that it just makes no fucking sense! They aren't misguided because they don't understand something or because there's a flaw in their thinking. They literally just say one thing and then do the complete opposite. Not to mention, Shaun being the leader of these psychopaths makes any sane person immediately lose any semblance of sympathy and makes things like the ending scene completely emotionless. The Institute is a cold, stupid, and completely nonsensical group of morons, and it really does a number on this game. Once again, the problem isn't that they're evil, it's that they are evil for really no apparent reason. They have no goals, they just exist. We don't know where they came from, why, how, or where they got their power, or why they do as they do. For all these reasons, the Institute, the backbone of Fallout 4's world building, is an objectively poorly written faction, and as I said, it really does a number on this game. If you do ultimately decide to side with them, you destroy both the Brotherhood and the Railroad, cementing the Institute as the ultimate power in the Commonwealth. Honestly, it's a really shitty and anticlimactic ending that has most of your companions kind of hating you, and for good reason. Fuck the Institute. Anyways, considering everything, I ultimately decided to side with the Railroad, so let's get on with their missions. As I said, at this point we are effectively acting as an undercover operative, pretending to be an upstanding member of the Institute while secretly carrying out covert ops for the Railroad. Honestly, I really actually quite enjoy this part of the Railroad questline, not only because it allows us to explore much of what the Institute has to offer, but also because it's the first time so far that the Railroad has really felt like the covert agency it's supposed to be. Anyways, after reaching a certain point, me and Z1 decide to part ways for the time being. In the meantime, I have to continue working for the Institute and establish rapport. I do this via a multitude of missions, including retrieving a lost synth, kidnapping some poor prick, and intentionally throwing the Battle of Bunker Hill for the Institute. After my intentional failure at Bunker Hill, Father questions us himself. On this rooftop is where we get to feel even less empathy for our douchebag of a son, who admits that after releasing us, he earnestly believed we wouldn't survive and that he was doing a sort of epic prankster social experiment on us.
I'll admit, when I had you released from Vault 111, I had no expectations that you'd survive out here in all this. To not only do so, but manage to find me. To infiltrate the Institute itself. Extraordinary.
Your unconditional love is overwhelming. I think I need a moment.
I can accept that you're offended.
Wow! I mean, what a Weasley pimply cunt. Like, I get it, you didn't exactly get to know your dad, but leaving him out to possibly rot in the wasteland is a serious asshole move. This, again, reinforces my earlier assertions regarding this dumbass faction. The Institute cares not for the Commonwealth or even humanity as a whole. They care only for themselves and those who share their dogmatic, dictator-like dumbass beliefs. It's kind of like Twitter now that I think about it. At any rate, we make up some bullshit lie on why the Institute lost at Bunker Hill, and we get on our merry way, doing even more quests for Dr. Fauci over here. At a certain point, the Brotherhood of Steel finally opens their damn eyes and somehow manages to track down the Railroad HQ. My goodness! How could they have managed that? I wonder what could have possibly tipped them off. I take care of the armored cunts, and then as a team, me, Crackhead McGee, and Wasteland Mr. Clean all go out on a mission to destroy this sect of the Brotherhood for good, in a sequence that I actually really enjoyed. First, we make our way to Cambridge Police Station, where we massacre the Brotherhood soldiers there and steal a vertibird. We fly this vertibird over to the Pridwin, where we use some clothes we borrowed from the sleeping people back at the station and pretend to be a part of the Brotherhood. Now, while this section is a bit shallow, it's still really fun and once again makes me feel like a shadowy agent, blending in plain sight. Either way, we use our outstanding charisma along with this weird power called quick saving to smartly talk our way through situations until we manage to plant bombs along important sites on the Pridwin. Finally, coming back to the vertibird, we fly the fuck out of there. My game crashes and then we blow those Brotherhood bastards sky high. So long, you technology hoarding Nazi fucks! And with that, all we have left to do is face the Institute. Once the Brotherhood is dealt with, we begin enacting the final stages of our plan. Father elects me as the new leader of the Institute because he's dying of super AIDS or something like that, and then we begin mobilizing a revolution. We arm the synths, teleport the railroad homies into the Institute, and enact a full-on synth revolution. Like, we talking full Haiti mode, okay? I come visit Shaun one more time to spit on his grave, and I prime the nuclear reactor for detonation. I adopt a new Shaun who isn't gonna grow up to be a narcissistic psychopath, and we teleport everyone out of the Institute. Yeah, okay, that's pretty fucking cool. I'll give that one to you, but that's pretty badass. Those Institute pricks got exactly what they deserved. And with that, the final cutscene plays. Finally, once the dust settles, that is it. The end of Fallout 4. Honestly, if you ask me, the ending lacks plenty of emotional weight, especially with Shaun. The dialogue you get with him is just cold, if anything, and you only really feel happiness that the Institute is gone because they sucked cock. However, I've never complained about setting off a nuke, and I certainly won't start now. It's a badass, if emotionally weak ending. And that, my friends, is Fallout 4. Well and truly, when people say something is a mixed bag, this is what they mean. I do not believe that Fallout 4 is a bad game. There's plenty to love about it. From the fun gunplay to the crafting to the interesting world and so much more, Fallout 4 does some damn good stuff. However, with every source of light there's a shadow, and within these shadows lurk the ever-looming presence of the sins of man. The many sins of Fallout 4. From the shit-tier writing, boring dialogue, wacky world building, god-awful actual building, and again, so much more. Fallout 4, in and of itself, is not a bad game. If this game were simply rebranded as some random-ass game, it would be fine, but the fact that it takes place within the Fallout universe does it a great injustice. The reality is, as I've said with my Elder Scrolls videos, is that Bethesda, if anything, excels in building worlds more than anything else. I love the Scrolls games, but they have never been known for their amazing combat or otherwise impressive systems. No. Instead, they are revered and remembered for the luscious worlds they portray, and the plentiful stories that can be found within them. This is what Bethesda excels at. The issue with Fallout, though, is that this isn't really Bethesda's IP. They merely borrowed it from Obsidian, who clearly had a greater knowledge of this world. Bethesda can make great worlds, but when they fundamentally don't understand them, they fail miserably. Despite all this, though, I love Fallout 4. Frankly, I always have. This is a game that will always be near and dear to my heart, a game I love. But even one such as I can see them clearly. The sins of Fallout 4, the many issues and the reasons this game is so looked down upon within a majority of the Fallout community. Perhaps one day Bethesda will truly understand what made Fallout great, but it is clear that that day is not now, and that is the reality that we will have to live in. Either way though, guys, if you made it this far, I extend to you a heartfelt thank you. It truly means a lot to me. I'm sorry this video took so long to get out, but a video like this takes a while to make. In that spirit, if you did enjoy this video and would like to see more like it, I would greatly appreciate it if you considered liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your guys' support is what keeps me going, and knowing if you guys enjoyed something lets me know if I should do more similar videos in the future. At the same time, if you fucking hated this video, leave a dislike and report me to your local police department. Trust me, I get it. Either way though, thank you guys so very much, and I will see you guys with a new video very soon.